Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show with local celebrity host Steve-O. Sit back each week while Steve-O educates you with live in-studio experts, such as lawyers, doctors, home improvement, and financial experts in their field. Call in and have your questions answered each week at 888-565-1470. Now, here is Steve-O with today's expert in their field.
Hey, today I've got to pat myself on the back. We've got a new show today, and I'm telling you, this law firm that's going to be on today's show, the first half hour, is probably one of the finest tax relief, tax resolution law firms in the country, and I'm going to tell you how I discovered them, and I'm going to take all the credit. So first, let me welcome you to one of the senior partners of Gregory Tax Resolution, Deborah Gregory. Hi, Deborah.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. This is your first show.
It is. We're excited. I'm here with Garrett as well.
Oh, okay. I've got both of you then. Well, I'm going to share, and I don't even know if I told you about this, but I get so many emails, and I saw an email that came in from a Deborah Gregory, and for some reason, I don't even know why, I read it. It was the most interesting educational information on tax resolution that I've ever read in my life. And all of a sudden, I would get like a new one every maybe week, and each one was better than the next. And I said, someone who is this good at educating on a subject that's kind of a downer subject, I got to have them as part of our show. And it just so happened we have gotten so many of our listeners asking, can you do something about taxes? We found the best. It's Gregory Tax Resolution. And first of all, tell us about how you started your practice.
Well, first of all, thank you for that. I'm glad our marketing is working.
Yes, it is.
So Garrett and I were both senior attorneys for the IRS. We worked there for collectively over 24 years. And, we really saw firsthand the effects that IRS collections could have on families and businesses. And obviously at that point in time, there was nothing really we could do about it. So we decided to start a tax resolution firm to help taxpayers resolve their issues with the IRS.
Because they are, without a doubt, probably the best at collecting money probably in all of America.
Oh, absolutely. They're the most powerful creditor in the world. They can do a number of really bad things.
Well, today, and you're going to be with us every month, we're going to, and surely if either you have a tax problem, maybe you're hiding those envelopes in the drawer, hoping they'll go away, or maybe you have a relative or a friend, you want to make sure they listen to today's show. We're on 95.3 FM and 1470 AM. So let's just jump into it. And I just kind of got it started by the people that throw those letters from the IRS into the drawer, hoping they'll disappear.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the worst things you can do is ignore the IRS. As unpleasant as it may be to receive that in your mailbox, and as tempting as it is to just throw it away and pull the ostrich routine and bury your head in the sand, that's the worst thing you can do. Because once they send you a letter, that means the gears are in motion and the clock has started, and you've got a lot of time-sensitive response parameters with the IRS that if you let them lapse, all of a sudden your options become fewer and fewer the further down the road those things go. And so, similarly, there's the fewer options we as a practitioner representing you, it's the less good or less options we can explore for you in your case. So certainly the first and foremost thing, because we get clients all the time, or prospective clients that will come into our office, and I know, Deborah, you've had this too. It's not uncommon. I've had people literally walk in with a box full of unopened IRS letters. And they said, I scheduled this appointment with you because I know I owe some taxes. I haven't filed a few returns, but I don't exactly know what's going on, because that's my first question. Hey, what's going on? Tell me what's happening. And they'll say, I don't really know, but here's a bunch of letters. And I'll sit there for 30 minutes opening letters and reading them while they just sort of sit there and stare at me. And, so it's a human nature to want to resist this and not address it. But all too often I'm opening these letters and sure enough, there was our appeals. That's come and gone. We can't do that. Here's our opportunity to go to tax court. That's come and gone. We don't have that opportunity. So there's, it's sad when I see that, but we really encourage people to get a notice from the IRS.
They don't like to be ignored, do they, Gary?
I'm sorry, what's that?
They don't like to be ignored.
No, and they'll do it for a while because they have to follow some due process hurdles. They have to give taxpayers every opportunity to approach them and make this right. But at some point, once they've satisfied all of their due process requirements, that's when the big guns come out. That's when they start freezing bank accounts, levying wages, accounts receivable of businesses, things like that really put you behind the 8 ball.
Well, let me ask you, what if someone gets a call from the IRS and they tell them they're about to be arrested? Is that real?
Yeah, we get these calls a couple times a week. My own father even called me a few months back with this happening. No, these are scams. Now, I have to put a slight caveat to that, but generally speaking, the IRS doesn't reach out to you by phone unless you've already established a relationship with them and been in contact with them. But a first contact is almost never going to be by phone. They may stop by and visit you in person, but most often it's a letter or an in-person visit. It's not going to be a telephone call. I put a slight caveat, so that's a scam. If anybody calls and says, hey, we're going to arrest you or something like that, that's definitely not the IRS. Now, I put a slight caveat. The IRS is farming some of their collection activities out to third-party private debt collectors, which is a very scary thing, should be for everybody, because we don't know what that's going to look like. We don't know how they're going to act. Of course, the government's going to slap a bunch of restrictions on them, but by the time this trickles down to their $10 an hour employees making phone calls, we don't know how they're going to act and what they're going to say on the phone. So, I do have to put that slight caveat.
Okay. So now, what if someone's got unfiled returns? Doesn't that put them in kind of a strange position if they start getting letters from the IRS? Because the IRS is going to want them to produce. And if they've got unfiled returns, what do they do?
So if you're in a situation where you have unfiled returns, the best course of action, of course, is to work with your tax preparer and get those returns done. Generally, the IRS is going to request that you go back 6 years. And what happens when you don't file a return, the IRS is going to create a return under their substitute for return procedures, and it's never in your best interest that they do that because they're just going to give you the standard deduction. They're not going to give you any of your other credits or expenses, especially if you're a Schedule C taxpayer, that you might otherwise be entitled to. So they're going to give you the bare minimum, and the liability will more than likely be higher than what it truly would be if you would just file an original return. So you do have the opportunity to go back and file those returns so that you can figure out really what the correct liability is, and then at that point, you can work with the IRS in getting into a resolution strategy.
And I'll piggyback on that a little bit.
Okay.
Another bad thing about unfiled returns is anytime you have an unfiled return that has a liability, there's a liability associated, you're going to get dinged with a 25% penalty on the amount owed of tax for late filing. And that 25% accrues, but it accrues quickly at a rate of 5% a month that you're late until it caps at the end of 5 months at 25%. So we tell people all the time, hey, I know you're scared because you're about to file this return and it's going to owe money that you don't have. So a lot of people think, ooh, I'll just not file it and I'll kind of hide for a while. Well, bad idea, because they're going to catch up to you. You're better off filing it and just not paying, but at least you avoid a 25% penalty by doing so.
Now, let's say, let me take this right here. A person hires your firm. Can you do anything about that 5% if they haven't filed, or the 25%? Can you help them at all in that capacity?
Sometimes. I'll
Okay.
give you a perfect lawyer answer. Maybe. It depends on the circumstances. But yes, under certain circumstances, penalties can be what we call abated or wiped away. Generally speaking, it's a tough legal standard. You have to show that there was reasonable cause for why you filed late or why you're paying late. whatever's giving rise to the penalty. And that's a tough legal standard. That's not just pretty please. I mean, or I didn't have the money at the time of filing. The IRS, that's not going to move the IRS much. It's got to be, I was in a coma, for 6 months and I couldn't file my return on time, something like that. It's going to be really compelling. But then there are other circumstances. For example, if you're going along and you've been just the exemplary taxpayer, and then all of a sudden we go along and we hit a bump in the road one year, and the previous 10, 15 years you've been clean as a whistle. A lot of times we can approach the IRS and ask them to abate the penalties for that first year, and they will be willing to do so.
So let me give you an example, or maybe you can give me one. What is the longest someone has ever gone who's retained you without filing for taxes?
Geez, the longest one I've ever had, their last filing was 1997, and they hired me last year. But I think you had one that was even longer.
Can you brag on yourself? Tell me what you were able to do for them.
Well, it's like Deborah
Not a lot.
Like Deborah mentioned earlier, the main thing working on our favor for someone who's been able to dance between the raindrops for that long is, at some point the IRS, look, it's a systemic problem with the IRS is they're wildly overloaded and they're way understaffed for the job that they're trying to perform. So they really cut it off at 6 years. They're gonna stand on today and they're gonna look back 6 years, and that's all they want to talk about. They're gonna see this guy hadn't filed for 20 years, but they're really gonna just wipe the rest of it away. They're just gonna write it off and say, okay, go back 6 years. We want to see those tax returns, whatever he owes for that amount. That's what we're going to try to collect.
And then now, so this person has to, I guess, reconstruct his last 6 years?
Correct. If they can, sometimes we have clients that say, you know what, I just can't do it. We'll live with the substitute for return, the tax calculated by the IRS on my behalf. We'll just live with that. We have to because I don't have any. They kind of throw up their hands, or they just don't have any documents. And in that case, okay, we just have to live with whatever the IRS has determined our tax liability to be and move forward into the collection stage of the engagement with that. And now the question becomes not how much or do you owe tax, it's how much can you pay us? That's the question we're trying to answer in a collections case.
So we're going to go to break in just a minute, and we come back. I think we need to be real upfront with people what the IRS can do, because there's a lot of things that they can do. Unless they hire a company like yours, a firm like yours. First of all, let me give everybody your phone number. It's 866-861-3640. Can you give us, you got a great website. Give everybody your website address.
Our website is GregoryTaxLaw.com, or you can reach out to us on Facebook as well.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, we're going to go to break again. Their phone number, 866-861-3640. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the things the IRS can do to you. We'll be right back.
Gregory Tax Resolution Services, PLLC, is a national tax resolution firm. They help clients worldwide resolve their tax issues with the IRS. Gregory Tax Resolution Services, PLCC, was co-founded by two former IRS attorneys, Garrett and Deborah Gregory. They worked for the IRS for over 24 years, combined as senior IRS tax attorneys. While working for the IRS, they witnessed firsthand the devastating effects that the IRS collections had on families and small businesses. While working for the IRS, there was nothing they could do. So this husband and wife team started their own tax resolution firm to help people just like you. The IRS is the most powerful creditor in the world. The IRS can levy your bank account, garnish your wages, seize your assets, revoke your passport, and shut down your business. These are serious issues that require representation. Call Gregory Tax Resolution Services at 888-346-5470 for a free confidential consultation with former IRS attorney Garrett or Deborah Gregory. Don't fight the IRS alone. Let former IRS insiders fight for you.
And we are back. We're here with the Gregory Tax Resolution Company, Deborah and Garrett. Wow, Deborah was my ex-wife and Garrett's my son, so I could never forget these names. Now, and then you have an office here in South Florida, is that correct?
Right. We have an office in Sarasota, and then our headquarters are in Dallas.
Right. Now, this, you could actually, if you've got someone has a relative in New York or actually any state in the country, you can handle this for them because you can do this over the phone. Is that correct?
Correct. We have clients worldwide, and we can work with folks, in any state. And
Yeah, I believe at last count we were 22 states and 7 different countries.
Well, what I like about you two is you've been on the other side. And again, I get your letters all the time. And I think you both should have been teachers when it comes to IRS because they're easy to understand. And I would think that a person that has a tax problem has a hard time sleeping every night. Would you say?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We hear that a lot from our clients.
Yeah, we jokingly refer to ourselves more as sleep doctors than
I totally understand that. Now, people, we start off the show talking about the people who hide those letters from the IRS in the drawers. Let me tell you, if you wait a long time before you hire a company like Gregory Tax Resolutions, here's what's going to happen. Tell everybody what the IRS can do.
Well, like we talked about the first thing, if you haven't filed a tax return, they will determine the tax amount and assess it against you so that they'll have a collection, avenue. But either way, once they have established that you owe them money, probably the most effective tool they have in their toolbox is what we call a tax levy. And that's a term that can take several forms. They can, it can involve freezing bank accounts, garnishing wages. If it's on a business, they can go after your accounts receivable. So it's really, believe it or not meant to be a collection tool. It's really meant to be a punch in the stomach to get you to sit down with the IRS, quit ignoring them, and get on a more workable, permanent solution to resolve this IRS debt.
Well, listen, if a person is having tax problems and they secure your firm, they no longer have to talk to the IRS anymore. Is that correct?
Right. That's one of the major benefits. And as a matter of fact, we make our clients basically promise they're not going to talk to the IRS without us present. They tend to do more damage than good, not because they're not trying hard or not smart people, but it's just this is a whole different world and it's a whole different language. And you can say a lot of things and think, wow, I'm really doing a good job for myself, and you're hanging yourself and you don't really know it. Plus, you just want to go do what you do, raise your kids, do your job. You don't want to wrestle with this alligator on your own. So we kind of take it off your plate and handle it soup to nuts. Your only involvement is getting us the information we need to best represent you.
So if they hire you, they retain you, and the IRS calls them, they can just have them call you.
Right. And even prior to that, what we do is we obtain Form 2848, which is a representative form of the IRS. We file that with the IRS. And at that time, once that gets processed by the IRS, they're not allowed to contact you directly. They'll send any letters they send both to us and to the client, but direct contact is only supposed to occur with the representative on record.
We have a lot of business owners that listen to the show. People are coming home from work now. Let's talk about businesses because they get themselves in a lot of trouble also. So
yes, they do.
Tell us some of the things you do for businesses.
Well, I mean, we do a lot of the same things that we do for our individual clients, represent them before the IRS and work out a resolution strategy. What we see in small businesses is they kind of get behind in the 941 taxes, which is the employment taxes. And that is the one tax that the IRS takes most seriously. And they will be very aggressive when pursuing 941 cases. They can shut down the business. They will go after the accounts receivable. They will show up to the business unannounced. So if you're a small business owner and you start kind of getting behind in 941 taxes, I definitely recommend working with a firm that has experience dealing with the IRS for these types of cases. because we represent a lot of small business owners, and things happen in the business, and they just get a little bit behind on paying in the 941 tax, and then it snowballs, and then it's a real big problem.
Yeah, I can imagine that snowballing. It's really important for a business to do the best you can keeping up, but what I wanted to make sure people realize that you can represent a business owner.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and we do a great many of them, because those cases really become very involved, and we're fighting a war on a lot of fronts. Because like Deborah said, you get behind on the 941 taxes, you're basically running your business on the government's and your employees' money. You're using their withholding, you're using government tax money to fund your business. They call it pyramiding, and that's when they'll come shut you down. But you have the business aspect of it. But of course, Congress was smart enough to realize, well, hey, this is a business level tax. So if you, the business owner, might think, hey, I'll just shut down my business, open up down the street as ABC Inc., and sorry, IRS, I've gotten rid of the obligation. Well, it's not so easy. The IRS has the ability to assert what's called a trust fund recovery penalty, which takes about 70% or the employee matching portion of that employee tax and pin it on the business owners or the principals of the business personally. So it's going to follow you around wherever you go, or whatever business you own or operate or shut down becomes irrelevant. So now and even if the business is still up and running, the IRS will do this. So now we're fighting a personal collection case that they've just pinned on you individually, as well as the broader case, which is against the business. So now we have to do two sets of financials and, all that, sometimes even two different collection officers, believe it or not. So it can really become a complicated situation. But yeah, we've handled a bunch of those, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We can get you to resolution. But again, you've just got to work with people who know what they're talking about and have been down that road before.
Well, the phone number for Gregory Tax Resolution is 866-861-3640. Let me give it to you again, 866-861-3640. Now, I spend a lot of time on my computer, on the internet, and I always see something coming up about pennies on the dollar. Is that really true?
Well, what they're talking about there is the offer and compromise program, and that's the program where you agree to pay less than you owe based on your ability to pay. What those ads really don't tell you is that it's not a used car lot sales negotiation. It is a numbers-driven calculation based on your ability to pay, and the IRS is going to look at your income, your expenses, and your net equity and assets in making that determination. We run the same numbers in our firm in figuring out whether or not an offer and compromise is the best resolution strategy. We have been very successful in our offer and compromises that we have submitted, and I think it's in large part because of our experience, but also we understand that it does not work in every single case. It's really a numbers-driven calculation. Sometimes, for example, equity in a home will mess up the calculation, and we won't be able to submit an offer because it won't work. But it is purely numbers-driven. It's not, some haggling that goes on back and forth with the IRS. Can you get pennies on the dollars? Yes, but it is in very specific cases that have the right facts associated with it, and of course the right numbers that work for that calculation. So, my advice when talking to folks is, if it sounds too good to be true,
yes,
it probably is. If someone's telling you over the phone that you qualify for an offer and compromise without doing a full financial statement, that's disingenuous.
Okay. I always like to end the show with, we educated the people a lot today, and we're going to do it again next month. But tell me why I should hire you.
Well, I think probably the first and foremost reason is our experience within the IRS. That sets us apart from most other firms and companies that do this type of work, simply because, a lot of the work we do, especially on the collection side, really isn't tax law so much as it is IRS procedures. Because by now the tax law is already paid out. Okay, you owe the tax, so we're really not in the weeds of the tax code. What we're really dealing with at this point is IRS procedures, how they go about now collecting the money that you on the books owe them, and knowing how that animal operates, and what our options are, what they can do, what they can't do, what we can do to try to steer the transaction as much as possible. That has really been invaluable to a lot of our clients, because we in our team and our firm, I think we have some other former IRS employees in our firm as well, and I think collectively have 75 years of experience within the IRS. So we have a pretty good understanding of how the IRS operates, and that sets us apart from other firms. That anybody can read the books,
right,
study up on tax law, but until you've really walked the halls and lived life as an employee of the Internal Revenue Service, it's hard to really understand those rules and procedures as well as we do.
Well, it's very obvious you know what you're talking about. I love the fact that you have actually worked for the IRS, so you've been on the other side of the table. I think it's wonderful. We are so lucky to have Gregory Tax Resolution as our expert in tax relief, and you're going to be with us again next month. Let me give everybody the phone number again. Write this down, 866-861-3640. That's 866-861-3640. Hey, Deborah, give us your website again.
It's GregoryTaxLaw.com, or you can go to our Facebook page at Gregory Tax Resolution Services.
And how do they get on your mailing list to get all that great information?
If they go to the website, we offer a free report, the top 5 things you need to know if you owe the IRS back taxes, and you'll get on our list and get our newsletter, which is for educational purposes, and really we just want to educate folks on the process. Listen,
if you want to get a good night's sleep, stop trying to handle this yourself. They're a lot better. The IRS is so much better than you. You need to have someone to represent you. Gregory Tax Resolution. They're going to be with us every month. And guys, thank you so much for coming on today. I can't wait to do the show again with you next month.
Well, thank you for having us.
The pleasure is ours.
Thanks. And we're going to go to break now, and when we come back, we're going to talk about all this horrible, bad weather we've had, and now it's time to go to the insurance companies. We're going to show you how not to do this yourself and get a lot more money. We'll be right back.
Gregory Tax Resolution Services, PLLC, is a national tax resolution firm. They help clients worldwide resolve their tax issues with the IRS. Gregory Tax Resolution Services, PLCC, was co-founded by 2 former IRS attorneys, Garrett and Deborah Gregory. They worked for the IRS for over 24 years, combined as senior IRS tax attorneys. While working for the IRS, they witnessed firsthand the devastating effects that the IRS collections had on families and small businesses. While working for the IRS, there was nothing they could do. So this husband and wife team started their own tax resolution firm to help people just like you. The IRS is the most powerful creditor in the world. The IRS can levy your bank account, garnish your wages, seize your assets, revoke your passport, and shut down your business. These are serious issues that require representation. Call Gregory Tax Resolution Services at 888-346-5470 for a free confidential consultation with former IRS attorney Garrett or Deborah Gregory. Don't fight the IRS alone. Let former IRS insiders fight for you. Florida Lost Public Adjusters has been chosen the expert for the Ask the Experts radio show. Florida Lost Public Adjusters are insurance claim advocates for any type of residential or commercial loss you may have. If your property was affected by Hurricane Irma, Florida Lost Public Adjusters can handle your claim and get you the money you deserve. Typical Florida Lost clients include residential property claims, commercial building claims, business and business interruption claims, condominium associations claims, apartment complexes including loss of use, yacht or large boat losses. Florida Loss handles all types of property claims like hurricane and flood claims, fire and water damage, broken pipes, mold, theft, and more. They have even turned denied claims into paid claims. Call Florida Loss Public Adjusters 24/7 at 954-430-7333. That's 954-430-7333. Or go to their website at www.floridaloss.com. Remember, no recovery, no fee. Florida Loss Public Adjusters.
Hey, and we're back. And boy, this is going to be the perfect show for what's going on out there. I think it was September the 9th that we had Irma. And boy, was it a doozy. Now, I've been through, I forgot the one we had in, I guess it was 06 or 07. Wilma. And I lost some windows. But for some reason, this last one seemed worse. I mean, we had trees down, roof, and everything. But you know what? It's time now to start talking to the insurance companies. And we have Armando, who's part of Florida Loss. They are public adjusters. And I am telling you, I hope you learn after today's show not to try to handle this yourself. These adjusters, these insurance adjusters with the insurance companies are very good at what they do. They want to pay you the least amount possible. And Armando's going to tell you today what you can do for them. And if you don't recover, there's no money exchanged.
Correct.
Tell us, first of all, about the company.
Well, Florida Loss is, we've been around since around the time around Hurricane Wilma occurred. Mike McManigal, the owner, has been a public adjuster for many years, and I've been in the insurance industry since 1982. I was trained by.
So you were on the other side.
I was on the other side. I was trained by them, and you know, I recognize, you know, that I learned a lot working on that end, and it's helped me today where I'm at today. It's helped me with perspective on how to handle claims. You know.
Well, first of all, tell everybody what a public adjuster is, because believe it or not, there are people out there that don't even know you guys exist.
Yeah. Well, a public adjuster is licensed in the state of Florida, just like an adjuster from insurance companies. They have to be licensed. You have to pass a course. A public adjuster represents the homeowner or the commercial owner.
Yes, because you do businesses too.
Yes, we represent them with their insurance contracts that they have with the insurance companies, their policies. So we try to not maximize, but we try to make sure that every single penny that is owed to them is paid to them. So we're here for the homeowner. If they need help, they can reach out to us, and we can.
So why is it important that someone hire a public adjuster instead of, and I think maybe the mindset is I'm going to save money doing it myself?
Well, we look for every little detail in damages that you may not think are there. We look at three aspects of an insurance claim. We look at the physical, that you can actually see and touch damage to the property. We also identify mechanical damage. Could be a lot of people have experienced when the power came back on, they've experienced problems with their appliances and ACs, and we look at that aspect of the claim, electrical issues they may have in the house. And we also look at the aesthetic value of the claim, meaning you have a lot of roofs down here in South Florida that have old tiles. Obviously, if the roof is damaged a little bit, they're not going to be able to find that same exact tile to look like it was before. So we look at that aspect of the claim as well.
One of your clients knew you were coming on today, and actually, I guess it was on Twitter, and actually told us that they needed new cabinets, but you told them that it's going to be more because you needed all new cabinets. They were just going to give the ones that were damaged, but they wouldn't have matched. And you guys came in and got them a lot more money. I mean, who'd think of something like that? You know, I need new cabinets, and they would replace the ones that were damaged. But no, they couldn't match up even the ones that weren't damaged, and you explained to them. So you got them a lot more just in that one area.
Yes, things like that's a perfect example of an aesthetic value of a claim, because you may have the physical damage, you may have a section of the kitchen cabinets that are affected, but how do you match the rest of the cabinets? You can't. Especially if it's more than a year old, 2 years old, you're not going to find the same exact color.
Same thing with roofing too.
Roofing is the same example. Tile flooring, anything that's been old, that's been placed on the property for a while, you won't be able to find the exact.
So Armando, tell me, just no one's listening, right? Just between you and I, why don't they tell you that?
Well,
why don't they tell you need all new tile because we can't match it up?
That's the insurance companies. If the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and
Give
if you
you
don't,
the least amount possible.
right. So if you're not aware of those things, that's why it's good to hire a public adjuster, because they make you understand that there's certain parts of the claim that the insurance company is responsible to pay you for. Sometimes they overlook it and they don't pay it, but that's what we're here for. We're here to make sure that you get
And
paid.
with a business, you might not have a problem with your business, but the people next door might have a flood that affects you.
Exactly. And a business, we also handle the business interruption part of a claim where you were out of
You're
business.
out of business
you're
for a
out
while.
of business for a while. We also handle that part with forensic accounting and so forth. So it's there's different ways that we can help you.
Now, but how do you charge?
Our fee on emergency claims, Hurricane Irma claims, is capped off at 10% as per the governor. It's
Okay.
an emergency rule. It's in place. It's been in place for a while, so it's 10%, no more than that.
But if you don't get them any more than they could have gotten themselves, is there still a charge?
No, there's never a charge unless we recover on your behalf. There will never be a charge. So there's no
So they
recovery,
can't come
no
out
fee.
short at all.
Never come out short. Never out of pocket. That's.
Do you ever have to go to court with them?
Sometimes you do, but for the most part, it gets almost to that point. But they usually settle before.
How long is it taking now for the insurance companies to settle?
Well, they're making
Because there's a lot of claims out
exactly now. They're going through the first wave of the initial reporting of claims and their payment or non-payment of claims. So you got the first wave. Now, after this wave, you get a second wave of people that weren't paid at all or weren't paid enough, so they feel that they should, keep negotiating the claim.
Okay, didn't feel like they got enough. Now, can you come in after they've already talked to the insurance company?
Absolutely. We can come in at any point. We can come in from the beginning, in the middle, or wherever you're at in the claim. If we feel that we can help you, we will let you know. We will steer you in the right direction. If we can't help you, we will tell you the same.
So if I'm at a certain amount right now with the insurance company, and I know I should get more, but they're not budging, I can bring you in, first of all, and you can sit down with me. There's no consultation fee?
None whatsoever. We're here to see if we can help you. It's the contract that we have with the homeowner or the business owner specifically says no recovery, no fee.
Okay.
So for whatever point we come in and during the claim, there will never be, unless you get paid based on our services, you don't have to pay us anything.
So tell me some of the claims that are going, and we're not going to give people's names, but tell us about some of the things that you're doing out there now that you got a lot more than the insurance company was offering. I love hearing those kind of stories.
Well, we see a lot of instances where we haven't had too many where right now we're discussing getting
You're in
further money.
negotiations
We're
now.
negotiating right now. There's been a few settlements. I'm not going to say that the insurance company is always bad. There are some good people out there. They do excellent work, and they're fair. I'm not saying everybody is on the insurance side is unfair, but for the most part, the homeowner is always left short, for the most part.
Is that not their job, though? I mean, isn't their job to basically give you the least amount possible?
It's if they can't justify it in their view, there's always you always can look at a claim with two different aspects. Two different eyes are looking at the claim. They may have a different opinion than you. I run that a lot. We get where these roofs may not necessarily have shown any loose tiles or missing tiles or loose shingles or missing shingles, but they never had any problems with water intrusion, and now they do. So somehow these roofs have been affected by the wind, and there's been an opening created because there wouldn't be any water intrusion if there weren't any openings. So insurance companies look for that. They have to see openings. They have to see daylight, and we have a different opinion. We feel that an opening can be a pinhole, and any amount of water can go through there. So did the storm create problems? Absolutely. A lot of problems with a lot of these homes that have older roofs. They have a lot of issues.
But you don't just handle just storm claims. There's a lot more that you do.
We handle every different type of claim that you can think of: vandalism, theft, fires,
Even
sinkholes,
smoke.
smoke, any kind of covered peril that you have in your policy that we handle. Or we don't have any earthquakes down here, but those things are part of the claim. You have sinkholes once in a while in Central Florida, and those type of claims are what we handle everything. I've seen every type of claim in my career, every type.
You know what? I'm going to open the lines up for the second half of the show. If you have a question for Armando, you can call us at 888-565-1470. I think I know the answer to this. What if I have another public adjuster and I'm not happy with them? Can you come in? Do they have a signed agreement exclusive?
They do.
Okay.
They do. I can't really interfere with that process unless the homeowner or the business owner obtains a release from the prior public adjuster. Then I can become involved, but before that, I cannot.
Well, I wouldn't expect a company like yours to go after people who have someone, but if people here who are listening to the show and going, I'm not happy with my public adjuster. Here's Ask the Experts. They've got Florida Loss right here. I really want to talk to them. They just have to sign a release with the company they're with.
They have to obtain the release from the public adjuster. He has to put it in writing, and that has to be submitted to the insurance company as well, because they have to be notified that if that public adjuster is no longer representing that. So that has to happen before.
Let me give everybody your phone number. It's 954-430-7333, or they can go to your website at www.floridaloss.com. We're going to go to break right now. When we come back, I've got so many more questions for you. We'll be right back.
Florida Loss Public Adjusters has been chosen the expert for the Ask the Experts radio show. Florida Loss Public Adjusters are insurance claim advocates for any type of residential or commercial loss you may have. If your property was affected by Hurricane Irma, Florida Loss Public Adjusters can handle your claim and get you the money you deserve. Typical Florida Loss clients include residential property claims, commercial building claims, business and business interruption claims, condominium associations claims, apartment complexes including loss of use, yacht or large boat losses. Florida Loss handles all types of property claims like hurricane and flood claims, fire and water damage, broken pipes, mold, theft, and more. They have even turned denied claims into paid claims. Call Florida Loss Public Adjusters 24/7 at 954-430-7333. That's 954-430-7333. Or go to their website at www.floridaloss.com. Remember, no recovery, no fee. Florida Loss Public Adjusters.
We're back here with Armando from Florida Loss. They're public adjusters. And we're talking about this last storm we had. If you've got a question, because I just had one about our trees. We lost a lot of trees, big older trees in our yard. And Armando was just telling me things I didn't know. If you have a question about a claim you're making, maybe some damage you had to your house, you can call us at 888-565-1470. We're on 1470 AM or 95.3 FM. If you're on the AM side and maybe you're not getting in the show as good as you might want, you can turn to the FM dial. Let me give you their phone number. It's 954-430-7333. And Armando and I were just talking because I did lose a lot of trees. Tell me about trees now, because, whoa, you're seeing almost every house with the stack of trees in front of their house.
Yeah, for the most part, insurance companies are paying for debris removal because of the time and removal. They actually pay for the tree if it hits the building or fencing. It has to fall on some kind of structure for it to be considered to pay for the actual tree itself, to remove it and dispose of it. Landscaping usually is not covered under the insurance policy. So a lot of people that had a lot of lush landscaping, lost it. Unfortunately,
that's going to come out of their pocket.
Yeah, that's going to come out of their pocket. Now, peripheral stuff like landscape lighting, sprinkler systems, those things are covered. Those things will have coverage. So if they were damaged because of falling trees, those things will be taken care of. So.
Tell me if I'm wrong on this. If I were negotiating and we finally came to an agreement, let's say it's $30,000, I would think the insurance company would want to get that check in your hand so fast before you change your mind. Am I wrong?
Yes, you want to get payment as quickly as possible because you want to try to get your life back in order. But at the same token, that doesn't close out your claim accepting a payment. You have up to 3 years, and some policies up to 5 years to reopen the claim or keep discussing the claim.
So I take a check for the $30,000, which you got for me, but I got another 3 years, like a statute of limitations.
Yes.
Is that in case something else comes up, or I find out later that it's going to cost more?
Yeah, you never know. You find out that you may have additional expenses, or something came up that related. Sometimes people are not aware they might have some mold issues that wasn't seen at the time or developed later on. So you never want to close out. You never want to sign any paperwork that closes out your file.
But you handle that for them, though. You know what to sign, what not to sign.
Yeah, we will.
They shouldn't try to do it themselves.
We will steer them in the right direction and give them the best advice possible. Other than legal advice, I'm not able to.
Right.
But everything else I can advise them. As far as anything listed on the policy, we're trained to know what the policy covers.
First thing you look at probably is their homeowner's policy.
Yeah, we make sure they have the coverage and they have everything in place and they're up to date with their premiums and there's no issues.
Now, so if they're not up to date on their premiums, that could cause a problem?
Well, usually if the policy is still in effect, it shouldn't be an issue. But if they had a cancellation prior to the storm, then that would really be bad. That would be bad. But I haven't seen too many of those. For the most part, people had their policy is intact and then everything was fine.
What kind of damages are you seeing out there from the storm?
A lot of interior drywall, ceilings, a lot of roofs, a lot of fencing, and landscaping. Obviously, you were seeing a lot of damage, peripheral damage to lighting, exterior lighting. Commercial properties, you see a lot of like in condominiums, you run into entry gates. There's a gamut of different things that are damaged out there. Different from commercial properties to residentials. There's, for the most part, it's a lot of roofs and a lot of leaks inside the house where they have to replace drywall and things of that nature.
Well, one of the questions we got this week was, can you be penalized for hiring a public adjuster?
No, you won't be penalized for hiring a public adjuster. And as a matter of
We're
fact,
doing the smart thing.
yeah, if for these type of claims that are emergency claims, insurance company, from what I understand, you can't be affected in any way as far as your premium or your or canceled being canceled because you put a claim in. You won't be penalized even if you seek help with a public adjuster. Sometimes insurance companies are more likely to
I would think it would speed it up because
I think it would speed
they
it
know you know what.
Yeah, and they don't look at us. They used to, but they don't look at us. They look at us as maybe to help them, because sometimes they have a communication issue with the homeowner. May not speak, the language, and if you're bilingual, you can help them out. So those things help. You're gonna get a lot of adjusters we see a lot of adjusters that are coming from out of state. They don't speak. You hear down here in South Florida, you got a mix a lot of cultures and some of these guys can't communicate with them, and it's better to have somebody that's there for you, at least can tell you or tell what's going on, because sometimes you don't explain everything as you
Right.
should,
Do you ever have any of the snowbirds, people who live up in New York, New Jersey, will call you to go look at their property because they're up in New York to see what kind of damage they do have?
Yes.
I would think you would get calls
Yes,
like that
we get that a lot. We have a few clients like that.
because we have a big New York audience who listens to the show. They're here half the year, and they like listening to what's going on down here in South Florida. Tell us the areas you cover.
Anywhere north of, as far north as Port St. Lucie, Orlando, Tampa, Fort Myers, Naples, the Keys.
Oh, it must be
Yeah.
horrible down there.
I've been down a few times. A lot of debris hasn't been picked up. It's
Still,
it's still. I was down there this past weekend, and I only went as far down as Tavernier, but I know even in that area, you still see a lot of debris on the side of the roads.
can appliances be affected because of a storm?
I believe so, and not so much because of the storm, but maybe when the power comes back on, the power surge may affect it. Some appliances can't handle it. I've seen that a lot in many instances on many claims so far. Appliances have been, air conditioning units have been affected, refrigerators, ranges, everything that you usually tell the homeowner, you advise them to make sure you unplug everything, but, it's very difficult.
So I loved hearing what you said today. I'm going to call you in the morning at 954-430-7333, and I want to hire you. Walk me through what happens.
I will schedule a meeting with you, ask you to have all your insurance paperwork ready. So when I get there, I do a walkthrough with the homeowner, go over, show me the damage. Then we sit down and we look at the policy, and we discuss what coverages he has and the deductible and everything that that he has coverage for. Make sure that he has coverage for fencing, if he has a lot of fencing, if he has a pool enclosure, make sure he has enough coverage for that. And we advise them, that we show them the contract. We tell them, we will represent you. We will assist you in every aspect of the claim from the beginning to the end. And
How long does that walkthrough take to go through the house, both inside and out?
It depends on the house, depends on the amount of damages, but you could be there about a half hour or 45 minutes.
So you can tell within that, let's say, that hour,
Yes.
any kind of damage they might have.
Exactly. We also examine the roofs. We go out on the roofs. We make sure that, we look at it thoroughly, that we try to see where the damages are on the roof. And that way we have document the damage. So when we meet the adjuster, we already have something prepared or something ready, and we show him, and this is why we're claiming this, and this is why
How long does that take to get with the adjuster?
At the beginning, it took a little longer because they had too many claims, not enough people
That makes sense.
to service them. But lately now, you put a claim in, and within 3 or 4 days, you're getting a call from an
that's
adjuster.
not bad.
So
And then how long does it usually take you to go back and forth, negotiate with them?
it's usually around 2 to 3 weeks now.
Okay.
It could be longer, depending on the case, if it's a little bit more complicated.
You can't just tell them what you want and they're going to write you a check.
No,
No.
obviously, no. That would be too simple. But
Yes.
we would definitely make sure that we get everything that the insured is entitled to.
Well, listen, this is like timing couldn't be any better. Listen, don't be a fool, okay? Don't try to do this yourself. You've got a great company here in Florida Loss, and they're going to make sure you don't have a loss. Their phone number is 954-430-7333. Go to their website. All their services are on there. It's at floridaloss.com. Armando will be back with us again next month. And just do the right. Don't do this yourself. Be smart. 954-430-7333. Loved having you on today, bro.
Thank you.
You'll be back with us again next month. We'll be back with you next week with our HOA show, K-Bender Rimbaum. Everybody have a wonderful week. Love this cool weather. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.